Not yet here. I guess we are good to go. Good morning, colleagues, and we would like to welcome you to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. My name is Patricia Mtanga, Corporate Affairs Manager for the Commission. Our tradition, as usual, is to introduce ourselves. And so we start with you, colleagues. We just want to know who's here, so I will start from this end. Later on, when we are done, we'll introduce the team from the Electoral Commission of Zambia, as well as examination. Good morning, everyone. My name is Please take up. Please introduce yourselves, ladies. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Dia from Movie TV. Nancy. Good morning. Nancy, I'm from the lady after Sharon, you introduced yourself and another person was speaking, so we didn't get your name. Thank you. Let's come in the middle.
Good morning, my name is Sandra Vega from Sanitary TV.
My name is Israel Kabandi from Zambia.
Ladies.
Prudence Chota from Comrade TV.
Okay, I'll cross over to the other side. We can start from the front on the camera there.
My name is Daniel from Screen TV.
Next.
Question make us this. Good morning, United President.
My name is Felicitas Chupapa from Revelation TV.
Okay, we can cross over to the other side. I can see this is the start. Are we done, colleagues, with introduction? Just checking, Dam on TV, are you going to do a live? We give you an opportunity to settle? Okay. So as the Dam on TV is settling, allow me to introduce the Chief Electoral Officer, Mr. Patrick Shidano. We've also been joined by the Examination Council of Zambia Director, Dr. Michael Chilala. Let me also introduce my colleague, Nicholas Limpua, who's the Public Relations Officer from the Examination Council of Zambia. I have colleagues from the Electoral Commission of Zambia, Commission Secretary, Mr. Bob Musenga. Sylvia Wale is seated behind there. She's the Senior Corporate Affairs Manager, rather officer. I have Caroline Kennedy, who is the consultant under the UNDP program. Did I see? No. Oh, okay. That's Naomi Hara, who's our internal audit manager. Rafael Kiri seated over there, corporate affairs officer. At this point, I will ask Darius to come through. Are you ready?
Charles is already saying yes. Wait. So where? Really?
Okay, now we get started.
I think we'll just go straight to you, Mr. Chan, because we think no, he's starting and you will now. We'll just go straight. He's starting just now. Yeah, we'll go straight. Okay. Yes.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies on behalf of Diamond for chewing up your time. May I take this opportunity to recognize the Director, Examination Council of Zambia, Dr. Michael Chilala, for joining us. Welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning. Media colleagues, staff of the Electoral Commission, as well as staff of the Examination Council of Zambia, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, I wish to welcome you all to this briefing. We are grateful that you have joined us once again. Like we had promised that we keep these quite regular so that we update you on the ongoing towards the 12th August 20 election. 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, 2021 is an elective year, which is this year, and there are a number of activities that have been lined up to fulfill the election calendar. In order to keep the nation informed, the Commission has been providing regular updates, as I earlier indicated, on various activities through you, the media colleagues. And we are very grateful for availing yourselves all the time. In the last briefing, we updated you on the disaggregated data of the provisional register of voters, which now stands at 7,002,393 registered voters. Further, in another briefing, we did update you on the launch of the 90-day electronic verification of voter details on the provisional register of voters. This is still underway, and we hope that the majority of the citizens are taking full advantage of that. It's a very easy process, and I presume that all colleagues here this morning are verified. It's as simple as *214#. Please do that so that you verify your details. This exercise, in terms of the verification, scheduled to run, is currently running, like I've indicated, from 7th February to 7th May 2021. These processes, like we keep emphasizing, are critical to ensuring the establishment of a clean and credible register for this year's general election. Coming back to why we are here today, the past weeks have been characterized by several developments as the country heads towards the August 12 polls. The Commission feels duty-bound to address these issues today in order for the nation to have informed citizenry. Specifically, these are revisions of the election calendar, delimitation, and the Constitutional Court ruling on the Grade 12 certificates. So these are some of the aspects that I'll be highlighting to you in this morning's address. So let me now address them one by one, starting with the revision of the election calendar. About 2 months ago, the Commission shared the election calendar and indeed the legal framework with stakeholders who included political parties, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, cooperating partners, and indeed you, the media. We would like to inform you and the nation that the calendar has since been revised to accommodate the provisions of the dissolution of Parliament, which has been set for 14th May 2021. Procedurally, nominations should be held after dissolution of Parliament. Therefore, the nomination period has been revised in line with these requirements. If you recall, our nomination dates were on the 11th of May, and now Parliament will be dissolved on 14th of May. So the rest of the activity dates remain unchanged. We have also added some activities and dates to aid aspiring candidates as they prepare for the nomination period. So allow me to just quickly peruse through the calendar as it stands. Voter registration, which we all are fully aware in terms of when it was undertaken. This was undertaken in the months of November and December, and this has been concluded. This was followed by, of course, the consolidation of the data, and now we are at the stage of voter inspection. So voter registration detail objections, so at this point one can be able to object, verify their details on the register. So the electronic inspection of the provisional register is still underway using the USSD platform as well as the website, and this is 7th February to 7th May 2021. So please kindly take note and take full advantage of this platform that is available to you to avoid crowding the physical centers when they open on the 29th. So this electronic inspection will be followed by the physical inspection of the provisional register of voters, which is on the 29th of March 2021 to 2nd April 2021. So it's the expectation of the Commission that only those that would have issues during this inspection that will present themselves for the physical inspection. So by issues, I mean you have an error, your name was misspelled, you are somehow omitted, but you are issued with a card, valid objections that you need to present in terms of appeal process and so on, then you can come through physically. But you do not need to do that if you do verification using the electronic system. If you do star 214 or you go to the website and you check that your details are okay, let me emphasize, you don't need to visit a physical verification center for your details, unless you just want to go and have a look at the site how it is, but you don't need to. So you can do that electronically. So the physical inspection of the provisional register of voters will be on 29th March to 2nd April, 2021. Payment of nomination fees. This is something that has been added. It wasn't in the previous update in terms of the calendar. Will be from 1st to 9th May 2021. So before the nomination date, candidates will be required to pay in advance the nomination fee. And this is to allow for processing of supporters. The registration of the certification of the voter register remains unchanged, which is 9th May 2021. Processing of supporters will run from 10th to 15th May 2021. So this is the time that we'll be processing the supporters. So we don't expect that candidates will come with a horde of supporters during the nomination exercise. This will be done before. So the payments will be done before. The processing of supporters will be done before, so that we make the exercise as smooth as possible. On the day, we'll be just validating what is required as per nomination guidelines. Maybe at this point in time, if I can just ask Council to just give us the numbers. I think it's important, it's something we omitted, for candidates to know what is required for each election the number of supporters that they need to come with. It's very, very important that they are aware of that. Starting with the presidential, right up to the councillor. Council, are you good to go? Okay, so by the time I finish this, we'll get that update where we get those specific numbers so that those that intend to stand know how many supporters each are required for purposes of processing their supporters. Presidential nomination has been moved. It will now be from 17th to 20th May 2021. So presidential nomination is 17th to 20th May 2021. National Assembly nominations will be on 17th May 2021. So this now facilitates for dissolution of Parliament so that those that wish to recontest can do that freely after Parliament has been dissolved. Mayor and Council chairpersons nominations will be on 18th May 2021. Ward councillor nominations will be on 19th May 2021. In keeping with the provisions of our statutes and ensuring that the 3 months campaign period is also upheld, campaigns, however, will start slightly earlier than the nomination period. In an ideal situation, you'd want the campaign to start after the nomination, but you also have to observe the provisions as provided for in the law, to provide for that 90-day window. So the campaign period will be on 12th May, will start on 12th May to 11th August 2021. 12th May to 11th August 2021. So this is about 5 days before the presidential nomination. Nomination petition is as was provided for from 15th May to 11th June 2021. And then indeed, of course, the big one, which is 12th August 2021, general elections. So this calendar will be availed and it will also be updated on our different platforms, starting the website, Facebook, and all other platforms that the Commission has. So we encourage all stakeholders to please visit our platforms to get the updated calendar. Allow me also to speak to the issues of delimitation. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, under Article 58 of the Republican Constitution and Section 21 of the Electoral Process Act number 35 of 2016, is mandated to delimit constituencies, ward and polling district boundaries for the purpose of conducting elections to the National Assembly and indeed councils. The Commission received submissions on the delimitation exercise that was conducted in all districts across the country in 2019. The Commission has since increased the number of wards from 1,624 to 1,853, and polling districts from 7,700 to 8,999. The review of constituency boundaries was also concluded, and the delimitation report has also been concluded, and this was handed over to the executive. However, the number of constituencies has since remained the same at 156, as there were no amendments to the Constitution to facilitate for either an upward or downward number in terms of constituencies. This therefore implies that the 2021 general election, for the purpose of the 2021 general election, the Commission will have to work within this number of constituencies provided for in the Republican Constitution. That is 156 constituencies. So there will be no change to the number of constituencies. Since the 2019 delimitation exercise, we have received reports of boundary disputes vis-à-vis creation of new electoral boundaries and districts in some parts of the country. Last week, the Commission held delimitation sittings in Kaoma, in Impika, Petauke, and Solwezi districts for the purposes of receiving submissions of electoral boundaries. The following are the scenarios of the boundary disputes and the stakeholder resolutions. I'll start with Lusangazi, Petauke districts. Following the creation of Lusangazi districts out of Petauke, Msanzala constituency was overlapping between Petauke and Lusangazi districts. So during the delimitation exercise that was held last week, the meeting resolved that one, to realign Lusangazi Petauke district boundaries to the current Msanzala constituency boundaries. 2, the constituency name remains Msanzala constituency. And 3, Lusangazi district, which has 6 wards, will now have 11 wards. In total, we'll now have 11 wards in total. So we have 4 wards have been moved from Petauke, and 1 ward was created during the 2019 delimitation exercise. So now, let me repeat that, the Lusangazi districts, which had 6 wards, will now have 11 wards in total. So 4 wards have been moved from Petauke. So the 4 wards that were sitting under Petauke are now in Lusangazi. And there was also an additional one that was created during the 2019 delimitation exercise. Mpika, Lavushimanda, and Kanchiria districts, so the second one. Following the creation of Lavushimanda and Kanchiria districts out of Mpika districts, Kanchiria constituency was overlapping with Kanchiria and Lavushimanda district boundaries, while Mfuwa constituency boundary was also overlapping between Mpika and Lavushimanda districts. So during the meeting, the following were the resolutions. The meeting resolved to realign Mpika, Kanchiria, and Lavushimanda constituency boundaries to the current district boundaries of Mpika, Kanchiria, and Lavushimanda districts. The constituency names remain the same, so that is Kanchiria, Mfuwe, and Mpika constituencies respectively. The other, which is the third, was Luampa, Nkayema, and Kaoma districts. Following the creation of Luampa and Nkayema districts out of Kaoma districts, some polling districts were affected and in turn impacted on the district boundaries in the 3 districts. The meeting during the delimitation exercise resolved to align 4 polling districts from Kaoma district to Luampa districts. Therefore, the district boundaries have been moved. 1 polling district from Nkayema district was moved to Kaoma district, and 3 other polling districts were validated and remain in Nkayema district respectively. In the scenarios mentioned above, the district boundaries for Kaoma, Luampa, and Nkayema have been moved. Kindly take note that the district boundaries of Kaoma, Luampa, and Nkayema have been moved. Creation of wards in Solwezi district, which is the 4th and last one which was attended to. Solwezi district has 1 constituency called Solwezi constituency and currently has 7 wards. 2 were created during the 2019 delimitation exercise. The creation of Kalumbila and Mushindamo districts followed the constituency boundaries for Solwezi East and Solwezi West respectively. Solwezi district remained with Solwezi Central and 5 wards, namely Kabijimpanga, Kimasala, Kamalamba, Tumbwangani, and Sandangombe, sorry. So from the meeting, the following were the resolutions. The issue of 5 additional wards, making a total of 12 wards, was upheld and well received. There was consensus on the polling districts to make up wards and the names of the wards. With this said, ladies and gentlemen, respective district resolutions will be shared with the relevant authorities, who include the Ministry of Local Government, for review and further action. As you know, district boundaries are not a mandate of the Commission, but that of local government. And we are pleased to mention that during these delimitation settings, we had present the Ministry of Local Government, and they are fully aware of the resolutions, and we are very sure that this will be acted upon urgently. Allow me at this point now to move to Constitutional Court ruling on the grade 12 certificates. As you are fully aware, following the guidance by the Constitutional Court in the case of the Bizwai Newton Nkunika versus Lawrence Nyirenda and the Electoral Commission of Zambia 2019, this is CCZ 005, relating to the interpretation of the term grade 12 certificate or its equivalent under Article 71D of the Constitution of Zambia. The court guided inter alia as follows. 1, that the term grade 12 certificate used in Article 71D of the Constitution is synonymous to the term school certificate, when read with the necessary modification in accordance with Section 6 of the Constitution of Zambia, Act Number 1 of 2016. 2, that the word equivalent to a grade 12 certificate is envisaged in Article 71D of the Constitution relates to qualifications that are comparable in value, amount, meaning, and functions, and are neither inferior nor superior to a school certificate. The qualification may include academic qualifications that have been obtained in other jurisdictions, but which are equivalent to a school certificate in Zambia. 3, a general certificate of education, GCE, is equivalent to a grade 12 certificate as envisaged under Article 71D of the Constitution if the number of subjects passed and the grades obtained satisfy the requirements for obtaining a school certificate. Fourth, a tertiary, vocational, craft, trade, or apprenticeship certificate is not equivalent to a grade 12 certificate. This is school certificate as it is not comparable in value, amount, meaning, and function to a grade 12 certificate. For purposes of the 2021 general elections, all candidates will be required to have their grade 12 certificates or equivalent validated by the Examination Council of Zambia or the Zambia Qualifications Authority, ZACA. Take note that the qualifications from tertiary institutions such as trade certificates, diploma, or university degree are not equivalent to a grade 12 certificate, and therefore will not be separately be accepted without a grade 12 certificate. Aspiring candidates should ensure that they obtain supporting letters from institutions validating their certificates, which should be presented together with the nomination papers and verified certificates on the nomination day. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we had for you today. Let me end here and invite questions at this point in time. But before I do that, I'll also ask the director, Dr. Chilala, Director ECZ, to come in to just point out some clarity in terms of what entails a school certificate and indeed any other aspects that they would want to highlight. But before that is done, let me also speak to the issue of the required numbers. Remember, I did allude to the issue of supporters. So for presidential, each presidential candidate will be required to have 100 supporters per province, bringing it to 1,000 supporters, because that is 10 provinces. Parliamentary, they simply need 5 supporters who are registered in the constituency. Sorry, 15 supporters who are registered in that constituency. And local government is 7 supporters registered in the what they intend to start. So that's 7 supporters. So local government, councillors 7, parliamentary 15, presidential total 1,000, that is 100 supporters per province. I thank you. At this point, I'll hand over to my colleague from the Examination Council of Zambia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shindano, Electoral Officer. I just wanted to clarify a few things in line with what we've been reading in the media. I think there have been, in certain media cycles, assertions that a school certificate, something like requires 5 credits. I think I read something of that sort. I wanted to clarify that for you to obtain a school certificate, there are 2 ways. You pass 6 subjects, including English, and in passing, you can even have grade 8, it's a pass. You pass 6 subjects, including English, but one of the 6 must be at credit or better. So if you have 6 subjects, and then these 6 subjects should include English, and one of the 6 must be at credit or better, then you have a school certificate. So for clarity's sake, you can even have 5 grade 8 or 5 passes, and then you have 1 subject where you have a 6, and then if these 6 include English subject, even if English is at grade 8, you still make a school certificate. So we do not request for 5 credits to make a school certificate. I thought I should clarify that. The second condition is if you pass 5 subjects, the 5 subjects must still include English, and then you should have at least 2 of the 5 subjects at credit or better. So you can have 3 grade 8s, and then you have 2 grade 6s. As long as among the 5 subjects you pass, there is English, you still have a school certificate. Then on the issue of equivalence, just to reiterate that school certificates that are obtained from other countries, which in the ruling we are referred to as jurisdictions, obtained from other countries, or foreign qualifications, for lack of a better word, because you can obtain a foreign qualification even from within the country. Some people sit Cambridge exams, for example. You obtain a foreign qualification. That foreign qualification will have to be equated to the local standard. Because exam systems, for clarity's sake, I would love to say, work in similar lines with the banking system. You can equate the account number, your bank account number, to the exam number, and the marks you keep under the exam number to the currency you keep under your account number. And so if you come, for example, with a foreign currency, give me an example of a Malawi kwacha, you have to trade it with the weight of the local currency. You cannot necessarily transact with it as it is. In the same way, if you have a foreign qualification and you bring it into the country, we have to do like an exchange rate. We have to trade it with the local currency, translate it into a local standard, so that when you are using it, whether to apply for a job or to apply for elections, you are actually being considered on the same weight. So when you have a foreign qualification, which when interpreted meets the local standards, then that foreign qualification is equivalent to the school certificate as issued here. And then coming to GCEs, I also saw on social media where people were saying you need to sit the GCE papers at the same time. No, that's not the case. The ruling clearly states when the number of subjects and grades meet the standard required for the issuance of the school certificate, then you have GCEs that are equivalent to the school certificate. So if your GCE subjects are less than the number of subjects that we have defined in the school certificate, and if your grade combination does not meet the standard as prescribed for the school certificate, then you do not have the equivalent. But if you have GCEs to the number and grade combination as defined for the school certificate, then you have the equivalent of the school certificate. I also want to clarify that if any one of us here has a school certificate, a copy of the school certificate, the actual original school certificate, or even if you don't have it here when you go back to your home, just get your certificate and turn it to the back. You will find the rules that govern the issuance of the school certificate, and that is what we find. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director. I'll hand over to Patricia at this point in time.
Thank you very much, Director, Examinations Council of Zambia, as well as Chief Electoral Officer, for providing that update and giving us salient points that we need to consider. As per tradition, we are giving you an opportunity to ask questions.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
We are allowed to ask questions outside what we just talked about. Is that okay?
Preferably.
Well, I mean,
on
it
the
has to
exam.
do with elections, but it's not necessarily centered on what you've just discussed. But it's something that I want clarification on. from you at ECZ.
We'll make an exception, but
Or
ideally,
maybe we can talk after this.
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
The date for changing nomination period student rates are announced. I want to find out if our colleagues will be allowed to pay in installments, and also could you take us through how much is expected?
The schedule for the fees?
What I can do is we can share the schedule together with the speeches so that we can have a reference point in detail. It's quite a bit lengthy, so we can only allow the CEO to respond to that week of the instruments, and we can make reference to that afterwards.
We'll share with you the schedule of the payments. But for the president, it's 95,000. But as you know, they are graduated, they are sensitive to the issue of gender, they are also sensitive to the issues to do with persons living with disability, they are also sensitive to youth. So we'll provide you with the schedule of the fees. That can be availed quickly, so that as our colleagues leave, that can be done. All nomination fees, one can decide within the stipulated payment period to do that, but when we close that period, by then everybody would have paid up the amount in full. You cannot get to the point of nomination without having paid up. So the amount has to be paid in full by the time we get to the nomination exercise.
Let's get the next two questions. I'll allow the lady.
Thank you so much. ECZ, I would like to find out from you. Have you allowed campaigns to start? Because we are seeing a situation where people are campaigning and the ECZ has said nothing about that. So I would like to find out, have you allowed campaigns? If not, why is it that we are seeing people campaigning?
Thank you, Darius.
I just wanted to get clarity on the certification of results. Do members of parliament or any candidates that had the results certified in 2016, are they also allowed to do that during this time, during the Concord ruling? And then also if you can give us the deadline for the process.
I'll allow our CEO to respond, and then we can get a few more questions.
Campaigns. We have clearly laid out the timeline for commencement of campaign. The Commission is mandated to regulate campaigns as prescribed in our statutes, and I'll ask Council to speak to that specifically. Only during election period. Council?
Thank you. As correctly indicated by the Chief Electoral Officer, the campaign period is prescribed by the Commission, and the law requires that this is done 3 months before the general election. And so, as we speak, we've not prescribed campaign period, and so there are any premature campaigns. This is of course outside the provisions of the Electoral Code of Conduct. So effectively, we will start monitoring campaigns as and when the Commission has prescribed for the commencement of campaigns. Anything outside this period to be outside our jurisdiction. Thank you.
With that said, would plead with the political parties to ensure that they do not engage in premature campaigns until the Commission, as per mandate, announces as highlighted in our electoral calendar. All other activities that are outside the electoral calendar, unfortunately, not fall under the jurisdiction of the Commission. And we expect that other government agencies that are mandated to regulate and manage such activities do so as well. Because at this point in time, of course, the Commission cannot intervene, because really that is outside our mandate. Regulation of campaigns applies when we open the campaign period on the part of the Commission, as prescribed by law. So we expect that other government agencies will regulate the conduct of these premature campaigns, as it were, and also plead to political parties, please let's ensure that as we get into the 2021 polls, they are credible, and we do not have incidences of unfair playing field, we do not have incidences of violence, and we do not have incidences of premature campaigns, as it were. So let's adhere to the Electoral Code of Conduct as prescribed and all the other statutes as it were. I thank you. I think there's also the issue of the 2016 results certification. I'll also ask Director ACZ to come in, Examination Council, to come in on this one. But on the part of the Commission, our position is that we will not accept certified result copies from 2016. This is a new election, and we also have new guidance on based on the Constitutional Court ruling, and therefore we anticipate that all certification of results shall be fresh certification for 2021 poll. Director?
Thank you so much. There was a question on what is the deadline. As Examinations Council of Zambia, I think verification of qualifications is what we do as one of our routine exercises every day. So the deadline really, I want to think that will be determined by the dates on which nominations have to be done. But on our part, we continue verifying even beyond the electoral period. But we'll just request the political parties to organize themselves so that we can avoid crowding in the offices where we do the verification. And this can be avoided by, for example, if the parliamentarians or political party leaders can appoint people to carry documents for others that can be brought for verification, and then they carry them back to their colleagues. For example, in a ward or in a constituency, the member of parliament may be able to organize the team, or the political parties can organize themselves within the constituency so that at least 1 or 2 or 3 people can bring the materials for verification, and then we do it as a group verification, then they go back with them. That way we can avoid crowding and at least move more towards adhering to the COVID-19 guidelines. But the verification will continue even beyond the electoral period. But for purposes of elections, we can just guide that. Can they make sure they verify before the dates for submission of papers for nomination?
Do we have further questions?
I just want to follow up to what you just said. When you talk about verification of the certificates, this is a grade 12 certificates, what exact process are you going to ensure that? Because most likely we're going to have people that will come with fake papers. How have you ensured that you will have to make sure that what you're being given is credible enough and it's honest? Because we have seen scenarios, and I think it's very obvious that in political circles people are so desperate they'll do anything just to want to stand or to be put in place as candidates. So what exactly have you done in terms of ensuring that we have credible grade 12 certificates?
Okay, for those certificates that we issued, we have the record. And so we verify the subjects and grades against the record we have. And the certificates themselves have security features. And for some of them, even if you make copies, we are able to use electronic means to determine authenticity. I want to indicate that if we've seen a number of people, like for example, just overwrite. They get somebody's certificate, they write their names there and make a copy, and it looks like it belongs to someone else. I want to indicate that we have features that transcend from the original to the copy, which when we read them, we are able to tell the original owner of the certificate. And when it comes to foreign qualifications, we do not just equate to the local or translate to the local standards. We first have to confirm authenticity from the originating body, the body that issued the certificate, before we can translate it into our local standards. I think we went through these processes, and as ECZ, we've had the experience of verifying qualifications. I think members may remember, 2016 we went through the same exercise. In 2017, 2018, we had a big exercise where we had to confirm qualifications for teachers, and we are using similar systems to verify qualifications for teachers this time around.
Question?
Okay, let me see if there are any other hands apart from him so that we wind up. So after you, let's get to you and the gentleman behind. So 3 questions, and let's see if we can wind up.
Thank you. I'm Best Juror from Manifem Radio. To ECZ, as in the Examination Council of Zambia. Is there a fee attached to the verification? So how much? It's just for free. Thank you.
Okay, let's ask the question.
What are the measures we're going to put in place to ensure that they're going to receive? Because from the incident, some people can get qualificated certificating the country using the information. What measures are you going to put in place to deal with the personnel to detect the services fair to the origin of this certificate?
Thank you. Let's get the last question.
Imam Shah, my name is from CBCT. Director of ECZ, Dr. Michael Shah. Dr. Michael Shah can't be anywhere. Don't you see that there will be an act of corruption in this?
Okay, I'll allow Chief Electoral Officer as well as Director, Examination Council of Zambia to respond.
Okay. How much we charge? 100 kwacha a copy. 100 kwacha per copy. And the people that are coming to verify, they will also get a confirmation letter which costs 30 kwacha. So the verification is 100 kwacha, and when they ask for a confirmation letter, we will issue it at 30 kwacha. Then there's the question, Chidala can't be everywhere, and that is why we in government try to rely on systems other than individuals. Our system is integrated. Yes, we exist in 9 out of the 10 provinces so far, and from about 1998 upwards, we have all the records electronically, and so it's the verification process is a standard, and there are also quality assurance processes in the process of verification itself. One person does not start and finish. So there are measures that we put in place, and for the Electoral Commission, they will rely on the confirmation stamps on on the grade 12 certificates, together with the confirmation letter that we will issue to indicate whether somebody has a grade 12 certificate or they have the equivalent of a grade 12 certificate. So I think that is That is what we put in place. And this is something I haven't responded.
Yes, I think you've answered even the question that was posed to us, what we're going to do. I think it's just that we're going to rely on original copies. So it's no photocopies, please. These have to be original certified copies, in addition to the confirmation letter that will come from ECZ. If it is not a local paper, as it were, our school certificate, there also has to be the validation of the equivalence. Maybe you can speak to that, Dave.
Yeah. There are two sides to the foreign qualification. As you heard from the Chief Electoral Officer, he talked about Zambia Qualifications Authority and the Examinations Council. Members may be aware that government put a law where the first point for foreign qualification is the Zambia Qualifications Authority. So members may wish to go to Zambia Qualifications Authority for them to confirm authenticity of that foreign qualification. But that foreign qualification may not be used the way it is, because its equivalence will be determined once it has been translated into the local standard. So when it comes to the confirmation letter we will issue, it will be based on, one, the confirmation that that foreign qualification was truly issued by the body which is purported to have issued it. And then secondly, by it having been translated into the local standard, so that we can determine how it becomes the equivalent of the school certificate issued by the Examinations Council of Zambia. And therefore, at that point, we can be able to issue the confirmation letter that this person has the equivalent of the school certificate.
I'm being told to ask Nancy. Okay, last round of questions. Let's start with him, maybe it's a follow-up, and then we can get to Nancy. Anyone else would like to ask? Okay, so we get those two.
Yes, mine is just a message to the people, but we just laid out the ruling the way it is. Maybe in relation to that, just a word.
My question goes to Dr. Shilala. I think there are some candidates who are finding it difficult to verify their certificates. I think those who obtained the certificates before your system began to show me. So I don't know what is being about that. What is being done about that? Because I think that can only be done from Misala. So meaning all those candidates who had certificates before the period your system was electronic.
Thank you. Message to political parties. Firstly, read the judgment. I think that's a good starting point. Number two, on the part of the Commission, we'll also do a circular in terms of guidelines. We are not going to come up with anything different that the court has ruled, because really that would not be, right, what's the term, prejudicial. Yeah? So we can't do that. We basically have to follow the ruling as prescribed by the courts. However, we'll also do a circular in terms of guidelines to political parties, just to tell them what is expected as per the ruling. So like I earlier indicated in my statement, for purposes of the 2021 general election, as per the ruling, all candidates will be required to have their grade 12 certificates or equivalent, validated firstly by the Examination Council of Zambia or the Zambia Qualifications Authority. So all certificates have to be certified. Please do not come with uncertified documentation to the Commission. We will not accept that. And we don't want to be in a position where your nomination papers are rejected. Please ensure that they are certified. But also to take note that qualifications from tertiary institutions such as trade certificates, diplomas, or university degree are not equivalent to grade 12. So these are supposedly superior papers. but they are not, and they will not be considered for this purpose. But also the requirements for us to validate, as you heard earlier, we are looking for a certified certificate, a confirmation letter, and if it's a foreign paper, indeed, the validation of the qualification in terms of its equivalence to the local context as a school certificate. So please make sure all that is in place. I know that political parties are already underway with their own intra-party nominations and adoptions. So I hope that these are aspects that they can take into consideration as they prepare for the nominations by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. The other question is for Dr. Chila.
Yes. Finally, difficult. I wish to confirm that 1998 and before, up to way back, up to about 1966 or so, we actually have the records. But the records are in hard copy only. But the systems we have do not require the people from the provinces where we have service centers to travel to Lusaka now. We have an internal process of transmitting the information from the service centers to Lusaka, and we have people that are working day and night in our archive to be able to give confirmation to that process so that people are saved from where they are. So I read in the Daily Mail, Nancy, this morning, that people drew a blank. And I was very sad to see that the media can say a blank when there is no blank. The truth is that we have the records, except they are in hard copy. And so there is a way by which, if you approach, I'll give an example of the Mansa Service Center, which we just recently opened. The officers there will capture the information, transmit it to headquarters through electronic means, and headquarters from the archive will confirm authenticity of that qualification to Mansa, and Mansa will therefore issue the validation based on that electronic confirmation. So people do not need to travel from the provinces to Lusaka to get those qualifications validated. We already have a process, except that while the records that are online can be validated immediately and you go back with the evidence, you may have to wait an hour or two, or if you came in the morning, you may have to come back in the afternoon to get the feedback, because we're talking about one archive serving about 9 service centers across the country. So it's not that we do not have a system, and it's not that we require people to travel. No. Even the confirmation letters themselves, they will be issued from the same service centers in the provinces upon confirmation that the qualifications are genuine. So people, I want to emphasize that people should not travel from the provinces to Lusaka. They can be saved from there through the systems that we have already established.
With that said, allow me to just quickly close. I would like to